BBC Radio Leeds.
On the way in the next 5 minutes, you're going to meet the Yorkshire Inspirational Individual of the Year from the Yorkshire Choice Awards. His name's Stephen, and he'll tell you his story. Stephen Robinson was only 18 when a horrific motorbike crash cost him his right arm. But in his own words, he walked out of hospital a new person, having survived against all the odds. This is the gentleman you are going to meet now on BBC Radio Leeds. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning.
A motivational speaker, Stephen has faced his fears head on. Once afraid of horses, he's now a dressage competitor. True or false?
That's true.
He was once afraid of flying. He's now a qualified private pilot. True or false?
That's true as well.
And he's had many jobs over the years, including, and I don't know whether this is true or because they think I'm that so daft I'll read anything out, once a jukebox and slot machine restorer where he went by the nickname One Arm Bandit.
Well, you know why that is? Because I used to restore the vintage one-arm bandits. When I say used to, I actually still do that today. It's more of a hobby than a business. But I still restore the vintage jukeboxes and I still restore vintage one-arm bandits. You can imagine the mickey I'd taken out of me for that one.
I can, yes. So 3 truths there. And another truth is he's just been awarded the Yorkshire Inspirational Individual of the Year at the Yorkshire Choice Awards. So plenty to go at here, Stephen. But just take us back, because as I mentioned, 18 when this incident occurred. That was at least 20 years ago, looking at you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. At least 20 years ago, and some. Yeah, it was a shock, really. I was out on my bike one day. In actual fact, I'll go a little bit further back. I was studying at Leeds College Technology to be a motor mechanic, and I was on the final term of a 2-year course, and it was the first day back. It was just after the Easter break, and the first day back was always a half day, get you back into education slowly. And so I went in the morning, did my education, and in the afternoon I went out on my motorbike and lost my right arm. So I never actually continued with the course. Well, I did when I got out of hospital, but, you know, that was the end of it, basically. And I woke up in hospital with nurses telling me I'd lost my right arm, and I thought, well, I just didn't believe them. Until eventually they'd taken me to the bathroom, and there was a mirror in the bathroom. And that reminds me of the song, you know, the beat mirror in the bathroom. I always think of that song. And I saw for the first time that I'd lost my right arm. But I also noticed that all my acne had gone, and I had really bad acne as a young kid. And I was so overjoyed that my acne had gone that I wasn't really bothered that I'd lost a right arm. I was just so happy. But I also realised all my job opportunities had gone. I had some great jobs lined up. I had a job lined up in the Formula One pits. I was a top student in the college where I was studying in motor engineering. So I had some great jobs lined up. But I realised all those jobs had gone. And I thought, well, what am I going to do now? But I realised that I'd been released, really, because I was no longer going to be constrained by a 9-to-5 job, but I would go out there and do anything I wanted to do and try everything and see what I enjoyed. So basically that's what I did. I just tried job after job after job, not working for anybody else, working for myself, because back in the 80s there wasn't the equal opportunities for disabled people, so nobody would give me a job. So I just employed myself doing different things until I found the things that I really enjoyed. Oh, that was the idea. But the reality was I enjoyed everything that I tried, and I became good at everything that I tried. And I was fortunate, really, because I wasn't constrained to that 9-to-5 job. So I was a DJ. I worked briefly on it was at the radio, at the hospital radio at the LGI, and that was really good. I worked in Benidorm as a DJ and karaoke compere, and in the south of France, and in the circuit around Leeds as well. And then I got involved in breakdancing. I was a breakdancer. Can you believe this?
And you'll have to forgive me, but everything you say, I'm trying to visualise you as a fellow with one arm, DJing, breakdancing, all this kind of stuff.
Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
It does. Well, seeing as you've said it, I'll agree with you. Yes, it does.
No, it does to me as well. And in actual fact, when this award was given to me, and they read out all the things I'd done, and I was listening, I thought to myself, wow, he sounds like an interesting guy. I'd like to meet him. And I was listening as if they were reading about somebody else. And I thought, surely that person can't have done all that. But I have, and much, much more. And that's all because I wasn't constrained by a 9-to-5 job.
And now I speak to a lot of remarkable people. I'm very lucky to do this programme, and people sit in that chair and tell me stories. And normally when there's adversity, it's people who have been able to put a positive spin on it, come out the other side. When the going gets tough, keep going, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is the ultimate saying that losing the arm And then, but my acne's gone, so that's a good thing. I've got no shackles of a 9 to 5. I mean, this is the ultimate putting a positive spin on something, isn't it, Stephen?
It is, but I really felt like that. I didn't have to work at it. I didn't have to try and make myself feel like this. I felt really lucky. I mean, most people say it's quite unlucky to lose a right arm, but I never felt like that. I felt lucky that I was alive. So it depends how you look at things. I was so grateful for my life that I'd been spared, that I just wanted to live life to the most and to maximum and try to do everything and enjoy myself. So really, I was just enjoying myself and hopefully going to earn some money along the way, which I did. And I was fortunate.
Do you ever use a prosthetic arm or anything like that?
Well, I tried a prosthetic arm shortly after losing my right arm. That's so I could ride my motorbike, because I didn't want to be beaten by not being able to ride a motorbike with one arm. So I got a prosthetic arm briefly, except I had another slight incident when I was doing some hill climbing. Well, in actual fact, I was coming down the hill and the front wheel slipped on some wet grass and the motorbike fell on the ground, and I just stood off the motorbike thinking I'd just stand off and I'm perfectly okay. The only thing is the prosthetic arm didn't let go.
Right.
So the motorbike dragged me down the hill by a prosthetic arm. And I decided at that point, enough's enough. I think I'll give up on motorbikes. So I did.
Yeah. And started flying.
I started flying instead.
Tell us about this flying. When did you get your pilot's license?
I got my pilot's license in 2015, back end of 2015. I was awarded a flying scholarship for the disabled. It was called a FSDP. And I applied for this scholarship and I was awarded it. And I started flight training down at Kemble Airfield down in the Cotswolds, which is a beautiful place. I'd never been to the Cotswolds, really gorgeous. And I started flying down there, and the NHS had made me a prosthetic arm so I could fly this aircraft. And it had taken them a whole year to make this prosthetic arm. The only problem is when it was finished and we tried it, it failed. And it failed at 3,500 feet while we were doing simulated landings. Now, when I say simulated, we're actually doing a landing, but we're pretending to land on the runway, but we choose a cloud. So we land on the cloud, and if everything goes wrong, then we just drop through the cloud. Well, that's basically the idea, but you drop through the cloud controlled. The only problem is my prosthetic arm fell off while we were doing this specific manoeuvre, and we went into a nosedive and went through the cloud at an angle that we shouldn't have gone through. So it was a bit scary. And my instructor just took over. I said, John, you have control. And he said to me, no. He said, you've got to learn to fly this aircraft, Steve, with one arm. At that point, I said, no, John, my arm's fallen off. So we picked the prosthetic
There's
arm
a
off the
black
block.
comedy in this. You do realise, don't you, Stephen?
There really is.
This is good. Someone like Ricky Gervais will get hold of this, and it'll be a black comedy, and it'll be on telly over Christmas or something.
It was so crazy. We were laughing so hard, because it was really a funny situation, but potentially dangerous. But he did say to me, "Don't worry, Steve. There's 3,500 feet below us. There's loads of time to correct."
Oh, what was it like to pick up this inspirational individual? Because, I mean, despite all this, despite the what we've talked about, arms falling off here, there and everywhere, this is more for your motivational speaking, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And this is, I was totally shocked. I know I'd been nominated, because you get a phone call saying you've been nominated as the Inspirational Individual of the Year, the Yorkshire Inspirational Individual of the Year, which I'm proud to be part of this county. And I was at the event and they were reading out the names. There's 4 finalists. There was a couple of hundred people that had been nominated, but only 4 finalists get to be named, and you stand up at your table. And they read out the first name. It wasn't me, and I thought, I'm not even through to the finals. And then they read out a second name, and it wasn't me, and I thought, I hadn't even made the finals. The third name that came out was me, and I thought, I've made the finals. That's a good thing. I thought, great, I'm a finalist. So I was happy enough with that. And then they read out the final name, and then they said, and the winner is, and I was expecting a drum roll, but they just said, and the winner is Stephen Robinson. And I looked round at my friends on the table and I thought, did they say Stephen Robinson? Or was I just hoping they'd said Stephen Robinson? So it takes a second or two for it to click in. And amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
Everybody's clapping, everybody's in awe. They can't believe the things I've done. I can't believe the things I've done myself, listening to the woman present to present me on stage, and thought, wow, I sound like an interesting chap. But I was super happy.
What's next? I mean, all right, so we've done the flying, the horse riding, this, that and the other. What is next?
People keep asking me what's next, and I struggle with that one because I've tried just about everything. So I'm always looking for something new to do. I thought I might try sailing. I quite fancied that. A friend of mine's got a yacht, and I think to myself, then I've tried basically every form of transport. I like cycling. I might do a bit of a cycle challenge. So I'm struggling for the next thing to do. I'm considering doing aerobatics, but it does scare me. But maybe that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just another fear I need to challenge myself
Wing
with.
walking or something.
Wing walking.
Wing walking, would you fancy that?
An handstand. A one-handed handstand on a wing. Now, that would be challenging.
And on that picture, we will leave it. Stephen Robinson, smashing to meet you.
And you.
Thank you for telling you. Do you know, I very nearly said thank you for telling your story in such a disarming way. That would have been a horrible way to finish, but I've done it anyway. So it's your own fault. You've done it. Stephen, thank you ever so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. You're listening to BBC Radio Leeds.
Don't know much about history. Don't know much about